Rambam, Maimonides' laws. We're learning the laws governing disputes between plaintiffs and defendants. Let's get right into it. New section. Philistine Beniton. Laws governing disputes of plaintiffs and defendants. It contains one mitzvah, the laws that apply when a person issues a claim against a colleague and he either admits or denies the claim. Okay. So this mitzvah is explained in the following chapters. When a person issues a claim against a colleague with regard to movable property, and the defendant acknowledges a portion of the claim, he must pay what he acknowledged and take an oath with regard to the remainder, as the verse says, which he said, this is it. Okay, see the verse there. Similarly, if a defendant denies the entire obligation and says such a thing never happened, and one witness testifies that the defendant is obligated to the plaintiff, the defendant is required to, by scriptural law to take an oath. Similarly, if the defendant denies the entire obligation and says such a thing never happened, and one witness, sorry, we just did that, right? The oral tradition teaches whenever two witnesses would obligate the person to pay money, right? That's what the Torah says, you need to have two or more witnesses that obligate for payment, right? So now if you only have one witness, it obligates him to take an oath. It has also derived from the oral tradition that one witness shall not rise up against any man for any iniquity or any sin. He may, however, rise up against him to obligate him to take an oath. Yeah. So they rise up against him and obligate him to take an oath. Okay, perfect. Halacha number 2. There are only 3 individuals who are obligated by scriptural law to take an oath. That's a person who denied a portion of a claim of movable property, right? So he denied partially, meaning he admitted partially to a person obligated by one witness and a watchman. Watchman meaning a guardian, right? Excuse me. That's funny. I have a tickle in my throat. It's making me cough. Sorry. All right. So with regard to our watchmen, the verse says, and an oath of God shall be between them. So one witness we get, right? So a person denied a partial claim, meaning he admitted partially, but denied partially. Biblical oath he has to take. Then one witness, we learned that out, right? Because the one witness cannot obligate anything but that you think that you have to take an oath. And then the watchman, because the watchman has, a witness creates some form of the obligation of the oath. The watchman agrees to be that he's a watchman. So therefore, there's a relationship over here. And therefore, Torah says you need to take an oath. We've already explained that the oath required by the watchman in Hilchos Schiris. Each of these three individuals takes an oath and becomes free of his obligation to make financial restitution. That's the law. In contrast, those who take an oath and collect the money they claim, an employee, right? An employee, right? He says money's owed to him. A person who was injured. A person who impairs the legal power of his promissory note. We're going to get into all of these things and the like. And similarly, those who take an oath because there is a possibility of a claim being lodged against them. Partners or sharecroppers all take oaths because of our sages' ordinances. In other words, it's not a biblical oath that they take, but it's a rabbinic oath. Although all these oaths are ordained by rabbinic decree, they all resemble a scriptural oath, and all must be taken while the person holds a sacred article. So even though it's not a biblical oath, but it's similar to the biblical oath that you have to have a sacred article that you swear upon. Okay. A defendant is not liable to take a scriptural oath when a colleague claims that he owes movable property and the defendant either A, denies the entire matter, saying such a thing never occurred, right? I don't owe you anything. So there's no partial admission. B, admits a portion of the claim and gives it to him immediately, saying, this is all I owe you, here it is. Right? So it's not because he's giving right away, so he's not denying anything. And C, admits that he had originally owed the plaintiff a debt, but claims that the plaintiff waived the payment, gave him the object claimed as a present, or that he already returned the debt. So there's no biblical oath to be taken. Admits owing barley, while the plaintiff claims that he owes wheat. So it's a completely different thing, right? Nevertheless, sages of the Gemara ordained that in all these situations, the defendant should take a shuas hesses, which is a rabbinic decree, before being freed of liability. This oath does not resemble a scriptural oath because one need not hold a sacred article while taking it. We've already described the process of taking a scriptural oath and that of taking a shuas hesses in Hilchos Shavuos. Okay, I'm going to stop here. All right.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. God bless you. Have an amazing day.
Hope you feel better.